Hello everyone, subscribe to my channel to not miss new trending manhwa.
The story begins on a starry night in modern-day Seoul, focusing on a towering corporate building. Inside a lavish penthouse, the city lights glitter below, setting a scene of immense wealth and power. A television screen suddenly flashes with breaking news, capturing the sole occupant's attention. The report details the conclusion of a grueling 13-hour meeting to decide the fate of the powerful Samyeon Group. After an intense corporate battle, the charismatic CEO Jeon Seong-guk is declared the new chairman. In his private suite, the man himself, Jeon Seong-guk, listens to the announcement with a look of weary triumph. He smirks with satisfaction as the news praises his clean record. Unlike his scandalous predecessors, overwhelmed with joy, he lets out a triumphant laugh, soaking in the glory of his hard-won victory. He sees himself as the rightful king of the corporation, reflecting on the immense effort it took to reach this moment. Flashbacks reveal a past filled with relentless studying and discipline, all while managing his troublesome family. He recalls flawlessly handling his uncle's scandals and even his own arranged marriage partner. On top of that, he meticulously crafted a public image that made him wildly popular. Sipping his wine, he savors the moment, convinced he was always destined to rule Samyeon. With his new power, he decides it's time to purge the company of its old, corrupt elements. His first act as chairman is to gleefully plan the ousting of his rival supporters. But just as he revels in his plans, a sudden shock courses through his body, making him drop his glass. His triumphant smirk twists into a grimace of pure agony as he gasps in pain. He collapses to the floor, clutching his chest and struggling for every breath. As his vision fades, he stares desperately at a portrait on the wall, unable to make it out clearly. He horrifyingly recalls that his grandfather, the founder of Samyeon, died from the exact same affliction. He desperately denies his fate, believing himself too powerful to succumb to a mere heart attack. His consciousness is suddenly jolted by a gentle poke and a soft voice calling him Gugu. He opens his eyes to find himself in the arms of a smiling, completely unfamiliar couple. A wave of confusion hits him as he stares at his own tiny, chubby baby hands. The former CEO panics internally, realizing he has been reborn as an infant. His new life begins not in a lavish penthouse, but in a humble home in a modest neighborhood. He clenches his tiny fist, his powerful mind now trapped in a helpless baby's body. With the pacifier silencing him, the once mighty chairman can only stare in disbelief. His new parents are completely oblivious, fawning over their adorable baby, Seong-guk. He learns his new mother's name is Kim So-young, a 21-year-old who already thinks he's handsome. His new father, 23-year-old Jeon Ji-seen, agrees, thinking his son is cuter than any celebrity baby. The young couple dotes on him, with his father declaring how lucky he is to be born so handsome. On the outside, the baby seems to gurgle happily at the praise. But internally, the former chairman is absolutely livid at the suggestion that his success was mere luck. In a fit of rage, he spits his pacifier out, much to his new father's surprise. The sheer humiliation of his new life brings tears of frustration to his eyes. He mourns the loss of his former, perfectly sculpted body, a testament to his discipline. Now, he's trapped in a tiny, weak infant's form, a cruel joke of fate. He painfully recalls his previous life of immense power and prestige as the king of Samyeon. All that glory has now been reduced to this pathetic, helpless existence. He clenches his tiny fist, seething at the pathetic weakness of his new form. To make matters worse, he's been reborn to a poor young couple from an orphanage with no status or wealth. He bitterly remembers sipping million-won wine, a stark contrast to his current pacifier-plugged reality. His depressing thoughts are interrupted by his new father's voice, offering him milk. The former connoisseur looks on in utter disgust at the bottle of cheap formula, but his sophisticated mind is betrayed by his body's primal hunger as he stares at the bottle. He surrenders to his infant instincts, grabbing the bottle and drinking with desperate, uncontrollable gulps. His parents praise him for eating so well after he lets out an involuntary, yet content burp. His father's affectionate kiss only fuels his internal rage and humiliation. He contemplates the cruel irony of dying at his peak only to end up in this absurd, infantile state. He finds the hardest part of this new life is dealing with his overly affectionate parents. Their constant doting and cheesy pet names are a completely foreign and unsettling experience for him. Surrounded by their love, he realizes this is the first time he's ever truly felt what it's like to have parents. This feeling of parental affection was entirely absent from his previous life as the cold, calculating CEO. He recalls his original parents, who were always distant and emotionally unavailable figures. His mother treated him like a burden, coldly dismissing him to focus on her own life. His father only ever saw him as a tool, piling responsibilities on him from a young age. Even worse, he had to deal with his manipulative younger brother, Tae-guk, who reveled in causing trouble. The sudden rush of painful memories makes the former chairman jolt in his crib. He thrashes about, trying to reject these newfound emotions, while his new parents mistake his distress for drowsiness. He internally fights against his infant body's overwhelming need for rest, but his powerful mind is no match for a baby's irresistible urge to sleep, and he dozes off. He begrudgingly surrenders, deciding to postpone his plotting until after a nap. His new parents watch him sleep, with his father urging his mother to get some rest as well. The father insists she relax while he heads off to work, showing a glimpse of their hard-working life. He turns on the old television, hoping to provide his wife with a moment of peace. Suddenly, a news report flashes across the screen, detailing a bribery scandal at Samyeon Group. The report focuses on allegations against Chairman Jeon Jushin, the former CEO's own uncle. The baby's eyes fly open as the news announces his uncle has been summoned for questioning. He sits up, completely captivated by the screen, leaving his new mother stunned by his reaction. His mother gawks in disbelief, pointing out that their infant son just sat up all on his own. But the baby is frozen in shock, recognizing the man on the television as his late grandfather. The news report details the infamous Apple Box bribery case that has brought Chairman Jeon Jushin to court. On screen, his grandfather is wheeled past a swarm of reporters, his face hidden from the flashing cameras. The former CEO is floored, finding the entire situation utterly ridiculous. He stares intently, confirming that the disgraced chairman on the news is indeed his grandfather from his past life. Driven by a sudden urgency, he crawls towards the TV, startling his new mother with his focus. A powerful memory surges through him. He remembers this exact moment with chilling clarity. His mind flashes back to a dark time in his past, specifically to the year he turned 10. He recalls how his grandfather's bribery scandal was used by rivals to attack the Samyeon Group's reputation. He remembers the core principles that guided his past life: money is power, and connections are a superpower. He internally scoffs at his new parents' simple dream of saving up money bit by bit, while his parents celebrate his crawling. He dismisses their aspiration as the naive fantasies of the poor. He recalls how his grandfather used him as a 10-year-old to push his wheelchair for his sympathy performance. For the young heir, pushing his disgraced grandfather through a media frenzy was his official public debut. That day was a calculated move to present himself to the world as the future of the Samyeon dynasty. He cemented his status as the undisputed successor, following in the footsteps of his father and grandfather. But his triumphant memory is soured by the sudden appearance of his younger brother, Tae-guk. He grits his teeth, remembering his foolish, greedy, and utterly problematic little brother. Tae-guk was sent abroad to study, but instead descended into a life of addiction and vice. He recalls violently confronting his brother, who constantly tried to usurp his position. He realizes with dawning horror that he hasn't just been reborn, he's traveled back in time. The terrifying realization makes him tremble uncontrollably, alarming his new parents. He lets out a desperate cry, fearing that everything he worked for will be stolen from him once more. Later that night, his mother's voice tries to soothe him as he remains lost in thought. She offers him some apple juice, but the mention of apples triggers another painful memory, causing him to drop his spoon. He remains fixated on the now blank television, unresponsive to his mother's attempts to feed him. His mother trembles with worry, completely baffled by her infant son's strange and intense behavior. Their quiet, tense evening is interrupted by the cheerful return of his father from work. The father, a chef, proudly presents a bag of leftover meat, a small joy in their humble life. The mother is touched by his promise to cook, affectionately grabbing his arm. She quickly shifts his attention, pointing with concern toward their son, Seong-guk. The father is surprised to see his son still completely mesmerized by the television. His wife explains that the baby cries whenever they try to turn it off, so the father decides to handle it. He playfully tries to distract the baby, hoping a game of peekaboo will break the trance. But the infant firmly grabs his father's hand, stopping him cold. A terrifyingly intense aura radiates from the baby as he glares, silently demanding the TV be turned back on. The parents look on, utterly defeated by their son's powerful will, while he scoffs at their foolishness. He internally seethes, determined to gather as much information as possible. His priority is to learn everything he can about the current situation, his grandfather, and the Samyeon Group. He's consumed by the desperate need to find a way back to his original body. His new mother finally puts her foot down, turning off the TV and insisting he rest. He grunts in frustration as she lifts him, his plans momentarily thwarted. He wails in protest, trying to break free from his mother's concerned embrace. Internally, he screams about the desperate battles he fought to secure his position as Samyeon's heir. He refuses to accept the idea of losing everything he built to his worthless brother, Tae-guk. A single, burning thought consumes him: he must reclaim his rightful place. His mother tries to calm him, gently asking him to be a good boy and rest for the day. She promises he can watch the news again tomorrow, patting his back to soothe him. He realizes with horror that his infant body is affecting his mind, making his thoughts shorter and his emotions wildly unpredictable. He internally notes that his mother's gentle pats are having an unexpected effect on him. Against his will, the comfort of her embrace lulls him into a deep sleep. Even in his dreams, the former CEO can't find complete peace, a small tear escaping his eye. His new father expresses relief that he's finally asleep, acknowledging the difficult day his wife has had. But the mother's expression is filled with worry, her concerns focused entirely on their son. She points out that at nearly a year old, he still hasn't spoken and is obsessed with the news. The father listens intently as she confesses her fear of being a bad parent. He pulls them into a warm hug, reassuring her that their love is enough to raise their son well. A few days pass, and the infant is now frantically flipping through a book, desperate for knowledge. He stares blankly, realizing with dread that he can't understand a single word. He recalls his desperate, yet fruitless, attempts to secretly watch the news for days. He gazes out the window, frustrated that the world is moving on while he's stuck. Slumped in defeat, he sighs at his current predicament, only for his mother to call his name. She's surprised by his lack of interest in the news, but he has internally resigned himself to his ignorance. Seeing him down, his mother cheerfully scoops him up, proposing they go for a walk. She happily announces their plan to visit the market and enjoy the beautiful day. Strapped to his mother's chest, he takes in the outside world for the first time in this new life. Their walk is interrupted by a woman who the mother cheerfully identifies as their landlord. The two women exchange a brief, polite conversation in the alleyway. The landlord offers a cold, dismissive glance before curtly ending the conversation. His mother remains cheerful, waving goodbye to the cold woman as she walks away. Seong-guk internally notes the landlord's youth as his mother decides to continue their walk. Unseen by them, a nearby construction site scaffolding creaks ominously. They arrive at the market, but the former CEO is thoroughly unimpressed with his new, commoner life. His mother excitedly plans their dinner, happy about a small discount on bean sprouts. He internally complains about her simple concerns, annoyed that he's stuck drinking formula. Suddenly, a loud noise from above catches his attention as the scaffolding begins to collapse. His eyes widen in absolute terror as he realizes the immediate, life-threatening danger. In a split second, his mother instinctively turns, using her own body to shield him from the impact. Debris rains down upon them with devastating force, engulfing them in the accident. With a desperate cry, she clutches him tightly, her only thought to shield him from the falling wreckage. The world dissolves into a chaotic cloud of dust and crashing metal. In a frantic hospital scene, medics desperately try to save a patient from room 107. He recognizes the landlord's daughter watching in horror as his mother lies motionless on the ground. Despite her grave injuries, the mother's only concern is for her son, Seong-guk. She whispers a final promise of protection before her arm falls limp beside him. A wave of cold dread washes over him as he realizes his mother is dying. For the first time, the ruthless CEO feels true, paralyzing fear for someone other than himself. Paramedics rush his mother into the emergency room, her life hanging by a thread. A doctor assesses the critical head injury, ordering the team to prepare for immediate surgery. The doctor hesitates, a sudden, troubling thought crossing his mind. Miraculously, the mother begins to stir, groaning as she regains consciousness. Her husband rushes to her bedside, his face etched with relief and concern. He gently helps her sit up, but she is dazed and confused about her surroundings. A wave of panic hits her as she desperately asks for her son, Seong-guk. The father's expression darkens, struggling to explain the situation to his wife. He reveals their son is right there, curled up safely on the bed beside her. The father explains that while Seong-guk is unharmed, he was terrified by the accident. She reaches for her son, trying to soothe his fears and reassure him that she's fine. Holding him close, she smiles through her own pain, glad that her little Seong-guk is safe. He stares silently, overwhelmed by the unfamiliar warmth of his mother's selfless love. The ruthless CEO finally breaks, tears of relief and fear streaming down his face. His mother misunderstands his cries, thinking he was just terrified for his own safety. She lovingly scolds him, unaware that his tears were for her near-death experience. The family shares a quiet, tender moment, grateful to be together and safe. Her relief is cut short as she questions her husband about their expensive private hospital room. He becomes flustered, trying to find an excuse for the unexpected luxury. The father vaguely explains that the doctor ordered complete rest, leaving his wife confused. A document reveals the true reason: strict bed rest is required for pregnant women. The shocking realization dawns on the mother as her husband tells her to focus on recovering. The husband gently embraces his wife, urging her to focus solely on her recovery. Their quiet moment is interrupted as the door to the private room slides open. A nurse informs the flustered husband that visiting hours are ending for the day. He promises to return tomorrow, leaving a blushing Seong-guk with his mother for the night. As he leaves the hospital, his wife's parting words echo in his mind, entrusting him with their son's care. Now outside, the father cheerfully asks Seong-guk if he's ready to go home. He pauses, looking down at his worn shoes as he considers the cost of the bus fare. Deciding to walk, he's oblivious to his son's shock at their apparent poverty. The former CEO silently rages at the indignity of his new life, too poor for even a bus ride. Yet his anger is tempered by a sudden memory of his father working hard for their sake. He recalls the image of his mother risking her life, a profound realization dawning on him. With a quiet resolve, the former CEO finally accepts his new reality. He looks up at his father, and for the first time utters a word, leaving the man stunned. The father is overjoyed by his son's first word as Seong-guk internally acknowledges them as his true parents. 1 week later, a table is filled with treats for a special occasion. A banner reveals a joint celebration, the mother's discharge and Seong-guk's first birthday party. Dressed in traditional attire, the birthday boy looks thoroughly unamused by the festivities. His parents, however, are ecstatic, with his father eagerly snapping a photo of his adorable son. They shower him with praise, convinced he's the most handsome baby in the world. Seong-guk remains stoic, his mature mind completely indifferent to their fawning. Internally, he sighs, barely tolerating the childish celebration. He silently fumes, questioning their decision to throw a party when they're so poor. He imagines his father's struggle to pay the hospital bills, making this party seem incredibly irresponsible. The ruthless CEO in him wants to scold them for their financial recklessness. But looking at his parents, he understands this isn't about money, it's an expression of love. He finally grasps the depth of their selfless love, the kind that made his mother risk her life for him. For the first time, he drops his adult persona and happily plays the part of their beloved baby boy. As he enjoys the moment, he recalls the firm decision he made while his mother was recovering. He knows his parents are financially clueless and will never escape poverty on their own. Worse, he foresees an impending economic crisis that will devastate them if he doesn't intervene. As Seong-guk listens intently, a knock at the door interrupts their celebration. The mother is surprised to find their landlord, Kim Mi-young, at the door. The landlord, looking professional, reveals she's here for more than just a social visit. She proposes a shocking new career path for Seong-guk, becoming a child actor. Seong-guk envisions a future of fame and fortune, posing confidently for the cameras. This vision leads them to a massive studio building advertising auditions. The billboard calls for the next generation of child stars, an opportunity he can't miss. His mother arrives at the audition, awestruck and intimidated by the professional setting. Seong-guk, however, coolly judges the venue, deeming it a worthy investment. As his mother frets about their chances, Seong-guk's determined cry urges her to be more confident. His mother, filled with newfound resolve, sees this as a golden opportunity and heads inside. The story flashes back to a few days prior, showing the parents' stunned reaction to the landlord's proposal. The landlord explains her company is casting a child actor for a major commercial. She gives the family a sharp, calculating glance, assessing their potential. Her gaze lands on Seong-guk, noting his handsome features and hidden talent. Back in the present, the family and their landlord wait for the elevator, ready for the audition. While his mother nervously clutches him, Seong-guk silently fumes at her lack of confidence. Internally, he celebrates his genius, convinced that those destined for success will always find a way. He envisions a shower of money, recognizing this as his first real chance to earn a fortune. He remembers his past life, where being constantly surrounded by cameras was second nature. He recalls his past life as a CEO, where mastering makeup and camera work was a basic skill. He internally vows to crush the audition and take the prize money, his intense expression confusing his mother. As the elevator arrives, he gleefully imagines reinvesting his future earnings. His mother snaps him out of his reverie, urging him to get into the elevator. Flustered by another family waiting, she awkwardly lets them go first. They watch as a wealthy woman and the other family take the elevator, with the woman rudely telling them to stay out of her way. On the next elevator ride, the other mother fawns over her own son, while Seong-guk sees with irritation. The woman introduces her son as Master J, but Seong-guk internally scoffs at the attempt to sound important. The wealthy woman glares at them with undisguised contempt, sizing them up as rivals. She aggressively accuses his mother of trying to scout the competition, leaving her flustered and speechless. The wealthy woman sneers with a venomous aura, utterly convinced her son will win. Enraged by her arrogance, Seong-guk unleashes the furious spirit of a tiger. The woman is visibly startled, shocked by the sheer intensity in a mere baby's eyes. He internally judges her for her gaudy luxury, while his own mother is treated like a servant. As the elevator dings, he silently vows to put this stereotypical rich woman in her place. Seong-guk radiates a menacing aura, promising to completely destroy her and her son in the audition. The scene shifts to the bustling studio, where a director calls out instructions for the next child actor. A staff member tries to get another baby's attention while the crew captures the perfect shot. His mother nervously observes the competition, but Seong-guk remains completely unfazed. He confidently dismisses the entire ordeal as nothing more than a simple camera test. He observes another baby struggling to pose for the camera test. The intense heat and unfamiliar setting prove too much for the child, who breaks down. A staff member calls for the next contestant as rival Lee Ji-wee. The wealthy woman is recognized as the wife of the Deokung paper owner, and she scoffs at the attention. Seong-guk instantly connects the name to a company from his past life. He dismisses Deokung paper as a minor subcontractor, unimpressed by their status. With a menacing glare, he silently challenges his rival to prove his worth. The director gently coaxes Ji-wee, trying to get him ready for his shot. But under the bright lights, the rival child freezes, overwhelmed with fear. His mother and grandmother watch in horror, desperately trying to get him to smile for the camera. As his rival breaks down in a loud wail, Seong-guk smirks, his victory already feeling assured. The director loses patience, while the wealthy woman desperately insists her son will recover. She frantically tries to buy more time, but the staff reminds her of the other waiting contestants. Losing all patience, the director decisively calls for the next child, Jeon Seong-guk. He orders his assistant to remove the hysterical family so the audition can proceed. The wealthy woman seethes, her pride shattered as her son is dismissed from the set. As the staff calls his name, Seong-guk's mother quickly announces their presence. Ready for their turn. Placed on the floor, Seong-guk lands with the poise of a seasoned professional. The director and staff greet him, officially starting Seong-guk's long-awaited audition. His mother watches with a blush of pride and anxiety, placing all her hopes on her son. The wealthy woman rudely shoves his mother aside, demanding to see the audition. Seong-guk smirks, ready to demonstrate the vast difference between their son's abilities. He then switches to an irresistibly cute expression, completely winning over the set. The director is stunned by the sudden charm and frantically signals for his camera. He eagerly focuses his lens, determined not to miss a single second of this incredible performance. Seong-guk effortlessly follows the direction for a side-angle shot, showing his professional awareness. He strikes another perfect pose, his natural charisma shining through for the camera. Without missing a beat, he cleverly uses a nearby prop to enhance his adorable appeal. The director breathes a sigh of relief and amazement, declaring the child a true genius. His rival's mother can only watch in stunned silence, trembling with rage and disbelief. The director proclaims Seong-guk a genius, demanding they sign him on the spot. His mother is left speechless by the sudden praise, while Seong-guk smugly enjoys the moment. Taking a decisive step forward, the director approaches Seong-guk's mother with purpose. He introduces himself with a beaming smile as Director Kwak Jun-ah. Extending his hand, he compliments her on raising such an exceptional child. He eagerly grabs her hand, pushing to discuss contract conditions immediately. Still overwhelmed, his mother timidly asks if her son truly has talent, admitting her inexperience. The director sheepishly apologizes for his excitement but reaffirms that Seong-guk's talent is immense. He explains that the baby not only posed naturally, but also followed every command, as if he understood completely. Seong-guk smirks to himself, internally confirming that he did, in fact, understand it all. The director beams with excitement, eagerly anticipating his future collaboration with Seong-guk. Meanwhile, the wealthy woman is in complete shock, unable to process what is unfolding before her. She furiously confronts the director, accusing him of deciding the winner before the audition is even over. Blinded by entitlement, she refuses to accept any outcome where her grandson doesn't win. The director calmly announces that Seong-guk and Jae are the two finalists, and asks them to wait for the final decision. In the waiting room, the wealthy woman sees in the corner, while Seong-guk watches her with a triumphant smirk. His mother joyfully tells him he's a finalist, amazed he stood out among so many talented children. As she praises him for being the best, Seong-guk smugly confirms her assessment in his mind. Nearby, another mother and child wait anxiously, highlighting the tense atmosphere before the final announcement. The director approaches again, preparing to explain the final stage of the selection process to Seong-guk's family. The mother of another child quietly asks Seong-guk's mom what's troubling her. The kind woman offers to hold Seong-guk so his mother can quickly use the restroom. With his mother gone, Seong-guk is left in the care of the other woman, who now holds both babies. The woman is immediately impressed by Seong-guk, recognizing his exceptional nature up close. Suddenly, the wealthy woman erupts in fury, her dark aura terrifying the kind mother. She furiously berates the woman for daring to praise Seong-guk. Insulted by the comparison to her grandson, using her status, she threatens the woman's job, who recoils in fear from the outburst. As the kind woman stammers an apology, Seong-guk glares, annoyed by the wealthy woman's arrogant behavior. Internally, Seong-guk seethes with rage, wishing he could give the entitled woman a piece of his mind. Just as the tension peaks, a staff member cautiously peeks into the room, interrupting the confrontation. The assistant director addresses the wealthy woman, revealing he was sent to find Seong-guk's guardian. He tells her she can speak freely while the guardian is away, immediately arousing Seong-guk's suspicion. The woman complains that she only came to make memories, and questions why her grandson is being forced to compete. Seong-guk is stunned to overhear her claim that her grandson, Jae, was already the pre-selected winner. As the assistant nervously confirms her words, Seong-guk's anger grows with the shocking realization. He understands it's a classic case of corruption. The winner was pre-decided, making the entire audition a sham. The whole event was just an elaborate stage for the glorious debut of their chosen child. All the other contestants were merely props to be used and discarded in this carefully orchestrated scam. The woman scoffs, claiming the higher-ups made the decision and the director's opinion is irrelevant. However, the assistant warns her that this award-winning director holds more power than any of the higher-ups. She smugly recalls hiring a private tutor, confident her grandson was perfectly prepared for his guaranteed win. The assistant director confidently claims the tutor Jae will easily outshine Seong-guk, who glares in defiance. In a flashback, the assistant director is seen personally coaching Jae, instructing him to mimic his words. Despite the private coaching, Jae only stares back blankly, completely failing to follow the direction. The assistant director simply says the line himself, a smug smile revealing the tutoring was a complete failure. The scene cuts back to the present as the final audition officially begins. Under the bright studio lights, the challenge is set. The baby who can naturally pronounce the lines and act out the scene will be declared the winner. His mother anxiously clasps her hands, silently pleading for him to do his best and stay focused. With a serious expression, Director Kwak gives the cue, officially starting the final performance. The assistant director uses a phone to draw their gaze, their response to this direction being a key part of the score. Knowing the importance of camera angles, Seong-guk crawls with strategic purpose, leaving a confused Jae behind. Jae's mother and the assistant director desperately try to guide him, but the pre-selected star remains completely oblivious, unimpressed by Jae's performance. Director Kwak suggests they switch gears and start with Seong-guk. Snapping to attention, the flustered assistant director remembers his role in this rigged audition. He approaches Seong-guk, confident that this untrained baby stands no chance against the tutor Jae. Convinced of his inevitable failure, the assistant smugly prompts Seong-guk to repeat the first word. But Seong-guk shatters his expectations, delivering the line with a perfect, angelic smile. The assistant director's jaw drops in disbelief as Seong-guk's perfect performance radiates through the studio. Director Kwak beams with satisfaction, his expert eye for talent once again proven right. In a desperate panic, Jae's mother thrusts her son forward, demanding he get his turn to perform. The flustered assistant director reluctantly gives the tutor Jae his chance to perform. But when prompted to speak, the pre-selected star can only stammer, failing to deliver his line. Overwhelmed by the pressure, Jae burst into a full-blown tantrum, wailing in his mother's arms. His grandmother holds him with a twisted smile, muttering that this outcome is completely illogical. Director Kwak looks on with disdain, questioning her absurd claim of having trained the boy. The assistant director nervously tries to wrap up the audition, desperate to regain control of the chaos. Meanwhile, Seong-guk sits confidently, believing his victory is now an undeniable fact. Later, his mother stands frozen in a hallway, her face a mask of utter shock and confusion. She stares at the final results board, which unbelievably declares the crying Jae as the winner. As the directors stand nearby, she insists that this blatantly rigged decision cannot be right. His mother desperately argues that Seong-guk's performance was flawless, while the assistant director tries to placate her. The wealthy woman scoffs internally, believing a bit of charm doesn't qualify a baby for stardom. She approaches them, sneering at the mother's audacity for even aiming for first place. With a chillingly smug expression, she questions if the mother truly understands her social standing. She cruelly informs the stunned mother that second place is all a child of her status deserves. The grandmother delivers a final, condescending remark, mocking their futile efforts. Turning her back on them, she walks away, leaving Seong-guk's mother shaking with indignation. His mother is utterly devastated, horrified that such venom was spewed in front of her child. But as she looks down, Seong-guk calmly tugs her shirt, silently urging her to keep her composure. A sly grin spreads across his face, revealing this rigged outcome was all part of his master plan. Just as Seong-guk's plan unfolds, Director Kwak urgently rushes after his mother. He breathlessly catches up to her, desperately asking for a moment of her time. Seong-guk reveals that the moment he learned the audition was fixed, he immediately pivoted his strategy, drawing from his past life experiences. He knows it's impossible to beat a system where money buys success. Instead of fighting a battle he couldn't win, he set his sights on a much greater prize. The director, now seeing his opportunity, eagerly tries to forge a connection with Seong-guk's mother. He confides in her, expressing his own shock at the actions of the corrupt higher-ups. With a heavy heart, he apologizes, confirming that the entire audition was indeed a sham. He then turns to Seong-guk, offering a sincere apology. But the baby genius is already focused on the next step. Seizing the moment, the director bypasses the rigged results and personally invites them to the commercial shoot. Seong-guk's true ambition is revealed, a multi-step plan to become a rich and famous child star. While his mother weeps over the injustice, he envisions a future of royal treatment and financial freedom for his family. With a greedy glint in his eye, he resolves to charm the director and secure his family's fortune. His ultimate goal is to use his future earnings to provide a comfortable life for his loved ones. The director explains the industry practice of having backup models, especially for unpredictable babies. He subtly hints at his lack of faith in Jaehee's reliability, a fact Seong-guk already grasps. In a surprising move, Director Kwak bows low, desperately begging them to be the official backup for the shoot. His mother feigns hesitation, slyly questioning if her son can handle the pressure. Seong-guk enthusiastically gives to thumbs up, his mind already counting the money from this golden opportunity. The director laughs, impressed by the baby's intelligence and wishing all his actors were this easy to work with. Director Kwak offers his business card, requesting her contact information for future projects with Seong-guk. Unaccustomed to such professional dealings, the flustered mother prepares to share her home number. The scene shifts to a bustling commercial filming set nestled in a forest near Seoul. Arriving on location, his mother looks around in awe while Seong-guk calmly observes the busy crew. As they navigate the set, a familiar voice suddenly calls out to Seong-guk's mother. The assistant director from the rigged audition approaches them, with a surprisingly cheerful greeting. Seong-guk, however, glares daggers at the corrupt official, who nervously notes the baby's intense stare. The assistant confirms their role as the backup model and offers to lead them to the waiting room. As they follow, Seong-guk's sharp eyes catch sight of something unexpected just ahead. His expression instantly shifts to one of pure shock, his gaze fixed on the surprising scene before him. Seong-guk realizes they're filming a commercial for the legendary Samyeon turbo washer. He recalls how this very product made his grandfather's company stock skyrocket in his past life. Suddenly, Jaehee's grandmother appears, her face contorted with pure rage at their presence. She furiously questions why the family that failed the audition is even on the set. Seong-guk's mother boldly retorts that the director personally invited them as the official backup. The flustered assistant director tries to de-escalate, explaining it's just a standard precaution. The grandmother arrogantly dismisses the need for a substitute, boasting about Jaehee's perfect condition. However, a quick glance at the miserable-looking Jaehee tells a completely different story. As the grandmother tries to shoo them away, a new voice cuts through the tension. The famous actress Im Seon-mi arrives, drawn by the commotion on her set. The renowned actress Im Seon-mi surveys the scene, inquiring about the baby models for the shoot. Jaehee's mother eagerly presents both children, highlighting her son as the winner and Seong-guk as the mere backup. Seon-mi playfully approaches Jaehee, but he immediately bursts into tears at her touch. Her friendly expression instantly sours, clearly displeased by the baby's hostile reaction. Annoyed, she turns away from the crying Jaehee, casually brushing off his rejection. Seong-guk seizes the opportunity, beaming with charm as the actress turns her attention to him. The actress is instantly smitten as Seong-guk happily reaches for her, completely winning her over. She marvels at his friendly nature, while his mother proudly confirms his affectionate personality. Decidedly, Seon-mi tells the staff she prefers the cuter baby and wants to film with Seong-guk, shocking Jaehee's grandmother. Enraged, the grandmother lunges forward and violently grabs the actress's arm, causing Seon-mi to cry out. The actress violently pulls her arm away, appalled by the grandmother's aggressive grip. Radiating pure rage, Seong-guk's mother steps forward to challenge the entitled woman. She gets between them, fiercely questioning the grandmother's outrageous behavior on a professional set. Jaehee's grandmother recoils in shock, completely stunned by the unexpected and bold confrontation. Suddenly, an imposing man in a suit intervenes, placing a hand on the grandmother's shoulder to de-escalate. Actress Seomi's mood instantly brightens as she turns to greet the powerful newcomer. With a flirtatious smile, he explains his presence, revealing he is the vice chairman of Samyeon, here to oversee the important shoot. Seongguk stares in absolute shock, a wave of recognition washing over him as he sees the man's face. The man introduces himself as Vice Chairman Jeon Jae-hyung, confirming Seongguk's unbelievable realization: this is his father. The baby genius desperately searches his past life memories, trying to recall what kind of person his father truly was. Seongguk remembers his father, Jae-hyung, was a highly competent vice chairman. Though not as brilliant as the chairman, Jae-hyung was skilled in his own right. He excelled at restructuring and improving the company during times of crisis. Jae-hyung was a forward-thinking leader, investing in specialized fields. He earned recognition and was featured in Forbes as a future business leader. While a capable businessman, his personal life was a different story. Seongguk recalls a specific, unpleasant memory involving his father. He remembers his father's tendency to have multiple mistresses. One particular mistress was introduced to Seongguk when he was 10. This mistress was someone Seongguk instantly disliked and tried to forget. A flashback confirms his worst suspicion: the famous actress Seonmi was his father's mistress. Back in the present, Seonmi eagerly tells the vice chairman she likes Seongguk and wants to film with him. The vice chairman takes a step closer, noting that Seongguk appears to be a very smart child. He leans down with a disarming smile, trying to greet the baby genius up close. Seongguk can only stare, the word father echoing in his mind as his mother looks on in confusion. The baby genius is frozen, locked in an intense, silent reunion with the father who doesn't know him. An assistant interrupts the moment, informing the vice chairman that it's time for him to leave. The vice chairman straightens up, regretfully announcing his departure to the small crowd. Before leaving, he gives Jaehy's grandmother a chillingly pleasant smile, entrusting the filming to her. The terrified grandmother bows low, stammering that she'll do her best under his menacing gaze. Seongguk knows that only a fool would dare to openly defy the vice chairman of Samyeon. He reflects on his father, Jeon Jae-hyung, remembering the kind of powerful man he truly was. While he seemed like a playboy, his father commanded immense charisma when it mattered most. The vice chairman gives Seongguk a parting pat on the head, wishing him well for the shoot. With a final, knowing smile, the powerful man turns to take his leave from the set. Seongguk watches silently as his father's figure retreats into the distance. Staring after him, the baby genius makes a solemn vow to live a completely different life this time. He looks at his mother, realizing he's found a real family that he is determined to protect. The baby genius sets an ambitious new goal: to build a company that will surpass Samyeon itself. With newfound resolve, Seongguk is certain that their paths are destined to cross again. A flustered staff member announces that it's finally time to start filming. An assistant directs Jaehy's now humble grandmother to the side while the mothers prepare. The two child models and their mothers are called to stand by for the shoot. Seongguk mentally shakes off his past life memories, deciding to concentrate on the here and now. He and his mother share a moment of fierce, synchronized determination, ready to seize this opportunity. The advertisement's concept is revealed: a heartwarming scene of a mother and baby at a picturesque forest villa. In the commercial, the mother's task is to wash the father's grimy, sweat-soaked shirt. The powerful Samyeon washing machine transforms the dirty garment into a dazzlingly white shirt. The final scene requires the baby to affectionately nuzzle the clean shirt while calling for his father. Seongguk recalls this exact commercial became a huge hit in his past life, ending with a shot of the gleaming product. He remembers the commercial was a massive success, even winning a prestigious advertising award. The original child actor, Jaehy, was launched into stardom because of this very role. A devious smile spreads across the baby genius's face as he forms a plan. Seongguk realizes this is his golden opportunity to steal the spotlight from Jaehy. On set, Jaehy suddenly throws a massive tantrum, leaving his mother completely baffled. The actress complains that her son starts lashing out violently whenever she gets near him. While his own mother looks on in concern, Seongguk hides a triumphant, knowing smirk. It's revealed that Seongguk secretly gave Jaehy a brilliant tip to escape his mother's torment. He promised the other child that if he resisted enough, he would be sent home early. Seongguk reflects on the unique, unspoken communication that only babies seem to share. The baby genius smirks, proud of his successful, silent communication with the other child. The frustrated director finally gives up, announcing they will proceed with the backup model, shocking Jaehy's grandmother. The grandmother furiously argues that her grandson was the winner, but the director retorts that production has been halted for an hour. He explains that Jae is completely uncooperative, crying and lashing out at the actress. When pressed about the schedule, the grandmother pulls rank, arrogantly questioning if he knows her family's influence. She pulls out a retro phone, threatening to call the powerful chairman of Deokung to complain. The grandmother declares she'll have the entire crew fired, leaving the director stunned and powerless. Her tirade is cut short as she freezes, a look of utter confusion crossing her face. Out of nowhere, the actress Seon-mi delivers a powerful slap, silencing the grandmother instantly. The shocking act of defiance leaves the director, Seon-guk, and his mother completely stunned. The grandmother clutches her stinging cheek, completely bewildered by the sudden assault. With eyes blazing, Seon-mi glares down at the woman, radiating pure, unadulterated rage. She explains with a chilling smile that she despises outsiders who disrupt her work. The actress calmly suggests they move on, leaving the director and Seon-guk's mother in awe of her audacity. Ignoring the fuming grandmother, Seon-mi turns to the director and demands they restart the shoot immediately. She then points decisively at Seon-guk, her choice for the new lead now crystal clear. With a bright, determined expression, she declares her unwavering desire to film with the baby genius. Seon-guk can only stare back, caught completely off guard by the famous actress's sudden endorsement. The actress confidently approaches Seon-guk and his mother, leaving the humiliated grandmother in her wake. The director, seizing the shift in power, orders the crew to stand by. Much to the grandmother's disbelief, Jae's grandmother watches in disbelief, furious that Seon-guk has taken her grandson's place. She scoffs that the shoot will be a disaster, while Seon-guk's mother holds him protectively. Ignoring the drama, the camera's red light flicks on, signaling the start of the shoot. The red light triggers a memory for Seon-guk of his past life, constantly hounded by the press. He recalls his time as a powerful CEO, effortlessly handling a swarm of reporters and flashing cameras. The baby genius remembers that his confidence in front of the camera was always his greatest weapon. With this realization, he knows exactly how to steal the show and make this commercial his own. As the director calls the scene, the actress begins her lines, praising the washing machine's power. She then turns to Seon-guk, asking him to feel the perfectly clean and fluffy shirt. Instead of following the script, Seon-guk silently grips the shirt, preparing to improvise. Instead of just nuzzling the shirt, he adorably calls out for his father, delivering the final line perfectly. The director and a staff member are completely captivated by his overwhelming cuteness. Recognizing a star in the making, the director frantically orders all cameras to focus on Seon-guk. The camera captures the perfect, heartwarming shot of the actress and the baby genius. With incredible awareness, Seon-guk stares directly into the camera lens, connecting with his future audience. The director is left speechless, wondering how a baby could possess such professional instincts. The actress, Seon-mi, holds him, looking on with a mixture of awe and admiration. She marvels at his performance, realizing his acting ability is far beyond that of a normal child. A crew member holds up a cue card, prompting the actress for her final line of the scene. Seon-mi flawlessly delivers her line, completing the perfect take with her new co-star. Seon-mi and Seon-guk strike a dazzling final pose, embodying the commercial's joyful theme. The close-up shot reveals their incredible on-screen chemistry, both beaming with infectious delight. Overwhelmed by the sheer perfection of the take, the director can only stammer out his approval. The director's triumphant call to cut the scene echoes across the set, filled with awestruck crew members. As the successful shoot wraps up at sunset, Jae's grandmother sees from the sidelines. She furiously questions the decision to replace her grandson, refusing to accept that Seon-guk's performance won him the role. Losing his patience, the director retorts that unlike Seon-guk, her grandson couldn't even perform his role. Meanwhile, the original child actor is completely exhausted, relieved in his mother's arms that his tantrum worked. Sensing the tension, Seon-guk's mother holds him protectively, telling him not to worry about the commotion. However, actress Seon-mi coolly intervenes, stating that the grandmother's empty threats will change nothing. The actress dismisses the grandmother's rage, questioning the point of the fuss over an untalented child. She then proudly declares Seon-guk the superior choice, amazed by their quick and successful shoot. Trembling with fury, the grandmother reveals her massive financial investment in the commercial. She then aggressively confronts the director, demanding to know how much he was paid for the project. The director is left stammering, completely blindsided by her sudden interrogation. A dark vision flashes, showing the powerful chairman grabbing the director with a sinister threat. The grandmother scoffs that she has no need for this commercial, deeming the entire production worthless. Storming away with her grandson, she furiously threatens to sue the entire production crew. Seon-guk watches her leave with an unimpressed, weary expression, finding her tantrum utterly pathetic. The director, looking exhausted, turns to apologize to Seong-guk's mother for the chaotic scene. Seong-guk's mother graciously dismisses the director's apology, insisting he's the one who worked hard. The director gratefully admits that Seong-guk single-handedly saved the entire disastrous production. He then confirms the shoot is complete and promises them a generous payment for their troubles. His mother smiles, ready to take her happy, gurgling son home after an unexpectedly eventful day. As they prepare to leave, actress Im Seon-mi watches them with a thoughtful, calculating expression. She suddenly stops Seong-guk's mother with a dazzling, almost ethereal smile. The famous actress then kindly offers to give the mother and son a ride home in her private van. Exhausted from his big debut, Seong-guk quickly falls into a deep, drooling sleep during the car ride. Seon-mi and his mother share a warm moment, watching the adorable baby sleep peacefully in the back seat, while his mother expresses her gratitude. The actress humbly insists she is the one indebted to the baby genius. Seong-guk's mother is baffled by the actress's praise, but Seon-mi insists the baby was an excellent lead. The actress smiles, grateful that his flawless performance allowed her to finish her workday ahead of schedule. Seon-mi recalls how the baby genius instinctively followed the camera's movements, demonstrating a professional awareness. She remembers how he perfectly matched her acting rhythm, creating a seamless and natural on-screen chemistry. The actress even marvels at how he subtly adjusted her position to show her best angle to the camera. With a flash of intense admiration, she concludes he delivered a dominant performance that completely owned the screen. His mother is utterly shocked to hear a top star declare that her baby is already a complete actor. She looks down at her sleeping son, struggling to comprehend the incredible talent he possesses. Seeing her opportunity, Seon-mi leans in with a sly smile, ready to make a serious proposition. Meanwhile, the baby genius remains blissfully asleep, unaware of the life-changing offer about to be made. With a brilliant smile, the actress extends her hand, proposing a formal partnership. The mother is taken aback by the sudden offer, while Seong-guk, feigning sleep, is jolted by the opportunity. The baby genius's eyes snap open, a sharp grin revealing his keen interest in the actress's serious proposal. Later, back at their humble home, the family prepares to receive the fruits of Seong-guk's labor. A representative from the agency confidently presents them with a hefty payment of 4 million won. His parents are speechless as the representative explains the director added a generous bonus to the original fee. Seong-guk is overcome with pure delight, realizing the immense financial potential of his new career path. He fantasizes about his future, seeing himself as a tiny mogul surrounded by mountains of cash. The baby genius basks in the glory of his earnings, marveling at the power of money, while his parents are still in shock. Seong-guk already plots to use the cash as seed money for future investments. Seong-guk's father is ecstatic, marveling at the 4 million won he's never held before. His mother, however, interrupts his celebration with a serious, questioning look. Her expression turns to worry as she asks what's wrong, bringing up their landlady. She reveals a business card given to her by Im Seon-mi, which the baby genius instantly recognizes. The baby genius recalls his mother's stunned expression when she first saw the card's details. The card reveals the actress's affiliation with the prestigious Sinsung Entertainment Agency. The landlady, now holding the card, deduces that the top actress must be incredibly fond of Seong-guk. His mother realizes the true meaning of the offer, to recruit Seong-guk into Sinsung Entertainment. The proposal is for him to become an exclusive child actor, a title that piques the baby's interest. The adults are completely bewildered, struggling to grasp the idea of their baby becoming a celebrity. The landlady thoughtfully considers the unexpected turn of events, weighing the pros and cons of the offer. She then confidently reassures the worried mother, promising to investigate the agency thoroughly. Her mind flashes to the powerful reputation of Sinsung Entertainment as she vows to identify its CEO. With a determined look, she resolves to uncover how the prestigious agency treats its talent. The mother is deeply moved by her landlady's dedication, while Seong-guk is amazed by her proactive support. The landlady offers a final congratulations on Seong-guk's debut before preparing to depart. She informs them the commercial will air in 2 weeks, then heads out for her own work. Just as she leaves, Seong-guk's mother anxiously calls out, stopping her in her tracks. The landlady turns back, calmly asking if the mother has any lingering doubts about the situation. Overwhelmed by her kindness, the mother finally asks why she is going to such great lengths to help them. The mother tearfully expresses her gratitude, noting how the landlady always recognizes her son's talent and helps them. The landlady simply replies that she just wanted to support them, leaving the mother stunned by her pure intentions. She then shares her own difficult past, revealing she scrimped and saved from a young age to buy the building. A flashback shows the landlady's solitary younger days, remembering when the young family first became her tenants. She recalls admiring the couple's hard work, which inspired her to cheer them on from the sidelines. The landlady dismisses her actions as just being nosy, telling the mother not to feel any pressure. After a moment of silence, Seong-guk's mother makes a heartfelt request to call her Unnie, a term for an older sister. The landlady is surprised as the mother, beaming with hope, eagerly asks if she can call her by the familiar term. With shining eyes, the mother explains she wants to treat her like family and even cook side dishes for her. The landlady is deeply moved, closing her eyes with a warm smile as she thinks about what a kind-hearted family they are. The landlady is overjoyed, blushing as she happily agrees to the mother's heartfelt request. Seong-guk observes the exchange, thoughtfully processing this new bond between his mother and the landlady. The baby genius smiles, understanding the landlady's kindness, while his father looks on in confusion. Now like sisters, the two women happily part ways under the bright, sunny sky. 2 weeks later, Seong-guk's father closes his Bossum restaurant for the night. He cheerfully confirms to someone off-screen that they've closed early just as planned. The restaurant owner, Park Won, suddenly appears and scoops up a very displeased Seong-guk. The father tearfully thanks his boss for closing the shop early so they could watch the commercial. On the restaurant's big TV, Seong-guk endures having his cheeks pinched, telling himself he'll only tolerate it because the man is his father's boss. Deciding to let the favor slide, the baby genius looks on as everyone gathers excitedly around the television. Just as the excitement builds, the landlady makes a timely entrance for the big premiere. The mother warmly welcomes her new sister, inviting her to join their private viewing party. Thrilled by the landlady's presence, the mother likens the shared anticipation to watching a movie together. Seong-guk's father eagerly hushes everyone, announcing the commercial is about to begin. All eyes fix on the television as the laundry detergent advertisement finally starts to play. The commercial opens with the famous actress and Seon-mi holding a pouting Seong-guk. The mother and landlady are captivated by his on-screen debut, while the real Seong-guk remains unimpressed. The ad introduces a new washing machine, promising revolutionary cleaning power for even the dirtiest clothes. On screen, the actress prompts Seong-guk, who then adorably snuggles a shirt and calls out for his father. The baby genius delivers a heart-melting performance, his sparkling eyes and perfect smile lighting up the screen. The father, mother, and restaurant owner are completely overwhelmed by the baby's on-screen charm. The restaurant owner claps with unrestrained joy, declaring the commercial an absolute masterpiece. The mother and landlady praise the ad's quality, with the landlady predicting it could win an award. Seong-guk smugly acknowledges the landlady's keen eye for talent. The overjoyed father smothers his son in a proud hug, much to the baby's annoyance. As the father continues to marvel at his son, a phone rings insistently in the background. The restaurant owner picks up the call, informing the person on the line that they are closed for the day. His casual demeanor instantly vanishes, replaced by a look of utter shock. The caller reveals he is the director of the commercial, having tracked them down to the restaurant. He urgently requests to speak with Seong-guk's family about an important matter. A mysterious, golden-eyed man smirks confidently, holding a document that hints at future plans. Following the director's urgent call, the family finds themselves standing before a massive broadcasting station. The father enthusiastically shakes the director's hand, thanking him for the prestigious invitation. The director warmly greets the baby genius, who returns his gaze with his usual sharp awareness. Seong-guk then stuns everyone by excitedly pointing and attempting to say the director's title. The director is amazed by the baby's rapid verbal development, correctly guessing he's learning to talk. His mother confirms he babbles all day, causing the secretly intelligent Seong-guk to flush with embarrassment. A brilliant idea strikes the director, who realizes the baby can now handle more complex acting roles. Fired up by the opportunity, Seong-guk silently vows to master any script they give him. The director, eager to harness this potential, invites the family to sit down and discuss the next steps. The director gets straight to business, revealing he wants Seong-guk to be the lead in a new program. He dramatically presents the show's proposal, titled Just Baby. The concept is a parenting reality show, promising a star-studded cast. The twist is that 5 famous idol members will be living with and raising Seong-guk. Just as the director is about to name the idol group, the meeting room door slides open. A man enters, introducing himself as Tae-young, the leader of the group Just, leaving the parents stunned. Seong-guk's mother is immediately captivated by the idol's striking presence. The golden-eyed idol looks down, his gaze intense as he expresses his eagerness to start. He removes his mask, flashing a confident smirk that radiates pure star power. The mother can barely contain her excitement, completely flustered by the idol's youthful charm. Tae-young notes the mother's starstruck expression. As she admits to recognizing his group from television, he humbly accepts her praise, blushing as he explains his group is still working hard to reach the top. While the mother enthusiastically pledges her support, the father's thoughts reveal a dark flicker of jealousy. Seong-guk's father glares possessively, while the baby genius silently judges his dad's unbecoming envy. The director cheerfully informs them they will meet the rest of the idol group once filming begins. Just as the mother is about to agree, a sudden wave of hesitation crosses her face. She voices concern for her son's well-being, a move Seong-guk smugly interprets as her prioritizing him over the idol. The director passionately insists that Seong-guk is the absolute core of the show's concept. He praises the baby's unique talents, making it clear that no other child could possibly take his place. Before his parents can respond to the director's question, Seong-guk eagerly signals his own approval. A sudden memory strikes the baby genius, who realizes he watched this exact show in his past life. He recalls how the unique concept of pairing an idol group with a baby captivated the nation's viewers. The show's original baby star was adored by audiences of all ages, becoming a household name. Viewers also cheered for the idols, empathizing with their relatable struggles in childcare. The program became a national sensation, establishing the parenting reality genre for the very first time. Seeing a golden opportunity, Seong-guk excitedly bangs the table, eager to secure his path to fortune. The director observes the baby's excitement, but Seong-guk's father remains silent with a troubled expression. Breaking the positive atmosphere, the father finally speaks up, revealing he has some serious concerns. He worries that constant TV appearances will prevent Seong-guk from having a normal childhood, stunning the baby. The father passionately declares he wants to raise his son as a beloved, ordinary child, not a celebrity. The idol leader surprises the father by saying he completely understands his concerns. He then reveals a surprising fact: he was once a child actor himself. A flashback shows a young Tae-young thriving on set, explaining he had a natural talent and no regrets. He credits his success to being given the right environment to let his talent flourish. Tae-young's pointed question about trusting his son's potential leaves the father speechless. The father gazes at his son, considering the idol's words about giving him a chance to shine. He realizes his son is indeed exceptionally talented, a fact he can't deny. Convinced, the father decides to embrace his son's destiny to rise to the top. He firmly shakes the director's hand, officially giving his blessing for the show. With the agreement set, the countdown to Korea's first ever parenting reality show, Just Baby, officially begins. The pre-production countdown begins, showing a dizzy Seong-guk signing the contract. The days tick by, showing Seong-guk confidently handling a concept photo shoot before the long-awaited filming day. The long-awaited first day of filming begins, with the production crew bustling outside the building. The idol group just introduces themselves with a dynamic group pose, full of energy. The introductions begin with the group's leader, Tae-young, followed by the sweet-faced Lucas. The introductions continue with the gentle-looking Jaein and the stoic BMCN. Lastly, the final member Michael is introduced, flashing a sharp and slightly unsettling smirk. The idols warmly greet the family, much to the mother's delight and the father's thinly veiled unease. The pink-haired idol singles out the mother for a charming greeting, instantly triggering the father's protective rage. The director claps his hands, excitedly announcing that filming will commence immediately at the Just dorm. The production crew rallies with a spirited cheer, ready to begin filming as the idols watch. Seong-guk keenly observes the director instructing his team to abandon the script for a more natural flow. The baby genius suddenly remembers the idols from his past life, recalling their history as models for his company, Samyeon. A flashback shows the group respectfully greeting him when he was the powerful chairman of Samyeon. Back in the present, Seong-guk critically analyzes the idols as Michael approaches to meet their new baby. Michael leans in with a dismissive smirk, commenting that Seong-guk isn't particularly cute up close. Furious at the casual disrespect, the baby genius slaps the idol's hand away with surprising force. Michael stares at his hand in shock while Tae-young immediately scolds him for not washing his hands after smoking. While his father comforts him, Seong-guk internally notes that the troublemaking Michael is just as he remembered. With a brilliant smile, Seong-guk decides to seize control and personally direct the show's narrative. The other idols coo over the baby's cuteness, but BMCN watches from the background with a grim expression. Seong-guk smirks deviously, silently vowing to show them all what he's truly capable of. The director claps his hands, ready to brief everyone on the official filming plan. He outlines a 3-day pre-filming session at the dorm, which will be edited into 3 pilot episodes to test viewer reactions. During the day, a full camera crew will be on site to capture all the interactions. At night, the staff will depart, leaving only unmanned observation cameras to film the idols' genuine childcare struggles. The director then suggests the parents stay at a nearby hotel, leaving them visibly stunned. He quickly reassures the anxious parents, promising to take the utmost care of their son. The idols enthusiastically chime in, telling the mothers she can leave everything to them. With the plan set, the director officially begins filming the show's very first scene. The director begins by reading the opening narration that will set the stage for the show. The show's intro frames the idol group just as struggling artists, whose ordinary lives are about to change forever. The idols stare down with nervous smiles as their new housemate, baby Seong-guk, is finally presented to them. Seong-guk gazes back with wide, unblinking eyes, silently assessing the 5 men before him. The leader, Tae-young, musters a strained smile, clearly flustered by the unscripted situation. An awkward silence descends as the idols and the baby stare at each other from a distance, unsure what to do next. Watching from the sidelines, Seong-guk's mother whispers in shock about the lack of a script for this reality show. The director observes the scene on his monitor, noticing the baby's unresponsiveness and deciding to pause. The idols desperately whisper amongst themselves, completely clueless about how to interact with the baby on camera. Internally, Seong-guk scoffs at their amateurish behavior, deciding he'll have to direct the scene himself. Realizing the idols are clueless, Seong-guk decides to act like a typical baby in an unfamiliar environment. He unleashes a calculated, ear-splitting wail, sending the entire set into immediate chaos. The idols descend into a panic, desperately trying to figure out how to quiet him down. Michael makes a clumsy attempt to hold the baby, but his awkward posture only seems to make things worse. The pink-haired Lucas swiftly intervenes, taking the crying baby from his fumbling bandmate. In Lucas's arms, Seong-guk instantly calms down, playing his part to absolute perfection. Lucas smugly declares his handsome face is the secret, much to the annoyance of the other members. While the idols argue, Seong-guk internally confirms his assessment of their personalities is spot on. The baby genius analyzes the group's chaotic dynamic, identifying Tae-young as the smart and responsible leader. Having made his choice, Seong-guk reaches out for Tae-young, signaling his next strategic move. He pegs Jae-in as the gentle narcissist, perfect for the motherly role in his fabricated family dynamic. Lucas is cast as the fun, athletic big brother, easily fitting into the playful family image. The quiet BMCN is deemed the kind-hearted member, completing the perfect playing house cast. Seong-guk then eyes the complaining Michael, mentally casting the clueless idol as the show's main villain. Deciding a rival is better for ratings, he points at Tae-young, who is completely baffled by the baby's gesture. As Tae-young holds him, the baby genius maintains a stern expression, his mind already working on the next scene. Tae-young suddenly announces a diaper change is needed, causing Lucas to recoil in horror at the prospect. Michael, however, steps up with a smug grin, boasting about his childcare experience with his siblings. He confidently takes the baby, proclaiming that changing a diaper will be an easy task for him. Michael's confidence evaporates as he looks down, utterly bewildered, while the baby holds his breath with all his might. Michael's confidence is shattered by a sudden, humiliating surprise attack right to the face. The baby genius feels incredibly refreshed, internally mocking the idol for his lack of reaction. A dark aura fills the room as Michael glares down at the gleeful baby, utterly defeated. Tae-young stares at his bandmate, completely speechless at the unbelievable turn of events. As Michael seethes with rage, Tae-young desperately holds him back, reminding him his opponent is a baby. The production crew, however, bursts into laughter, praising the scene as pure comedy gold. Seong-guk overhears their delight and smirks, knowing his plan to create content was a complete success. As the sun sets, the director clears his throat, signaling the end of the chaotic scene. He announces a 2-hour break before they begin filming the evening portion of the show. The exhausted idols collapse, with Tae-young complaining that an unscripted reality show is far too difficult. Seong-guk's mother praises his performance, while he internally dismisses the day's work as child's play. As a reward for his hard work, his mother offers him a banana, which he eagerly anticipates. The baby genius savors the fruit, marveling at how his tastes have changed since his reincarnation. Meanwhile, Tae-young formally thanks Seong-guk's father, who casually tells the idol to relax. A flustered Tae-young stumbles over his words, much to the father's friendly amusement. The father's expression suddenly shifts, revealing a keen interest as he calls his son fascinating. He internally notes that the baby has an uncanny ability to draw people into his orbit. He realizes that Seong-guk effortlessly creates entertaining scenes just by interacting naturally. With the idols, Lucas holds the sleeping baby, feeling smug about his perfect image, while a defeated Michael glares from afar. The mother astutely notes that Seong-guk seems to understand everyone's role, a fact the baby genius silently confirms. The father nervously wonders if the baby's intelligence is a coincidence, while the mother just smiles knowingly. Internally, the father marvels that his son is shining even brighter than he ever expected. Meanwhile, a freshly showered Michael is still fuming, unable to forget his earlier humiliation. He rages internally, questioning why a great artist like himself is stuck with babysitting duties. His bitter rant is cut short when the assistant director approaches him with a container. She explains it's Seong-guk's evening meal, silently judging Michael for his rude demeanor. With a sudden lunge, Michael snatches the bowl of baby food from her grasp. A sinister grin forms as he declares he'll feed the baby himself to make things less boring. He pulls out his secret ingredient, a packet of chili sauce, ready to enact his petty revenge. Michael smirks, determined to create an entertaining scene worthy of his artistic talent. Michael internally fumes over his humiliation, vowing that it's the baby's turn to suffer. With a sinister grin, he empties the entire packet of chili sauce into the unsuspecting baby's meal. Unaware of the plot, the production crew finishes installing hidden cameras and clears the set. As dusk settles, the director officially ends the guided portion of the shoot, leaving the idols alone. The front door clicks shut, plunging the group into a truly unscripted reality show environment. The idols immediately collapse in exhaustion, with Tae-young complaining about the brutal nature of unscripted filming. BMC anxiously eyes a camera, noting how impossible it is to relax while being constantly watched. Jaein dramatically falls to the floor, complaining of hunger before admitting he's useless in the kitchen. As Lucas rushes to Jaein's side, Seong-guk calmly pats the collapsed idol, unfazed by the drama. Tae-young suggests making ramen, but then remembers their most important task, feeding Seong-guk. Michael proudly presents the bowl of baby food, announcing he's already taken care of the meal. Tae-young eyes him suspiciously, questioning his sudden helpfulness. But Michael smugly brushes him off. With a sinister grin, Michael approaches the baby, determined to personally feed him the doctored meal. The baby genius, however, senses danger, his expression hardening as he eyes the offered food. Michael sits down, trying to coax the baby into eating, but Seong-guk remains silent and watchful. Just as Michael moves to feed him, Seong-guk deftly intercepts the spoon, shocking the idol. The baby genius then turns the tables, offering the spoonful to Michael with a deceptively sweet smile. Michael recoils in disbelief while Tae-young, oblivious to the plot, praises the baby's kind gesture. Seong-guk's cute facade drops, replaced by a menacing glare as he forcefully insists Michael eat first. Michael internally panics, refusing to eat the baby food, while Tae-young cluelessly urges him not to keep Seong-guk waiting. Seeing Michael's refusal, Tae-young playfully decides to accept the baby's kindness himself. The baby genius swiftly redirects the spoon, feeding the spicy meal to the unsuspecting Tae-young. Tae-young's face freezes in horror as the unexpected spiciness hits his tongue. Jaein rushes to Tae-young's side in concern as he keels over from the shock. The baby genius glares at Michael, furious that his prediction of sabotage came true. Seong-guk's inner demon awakens, vowing to make Michael pay for tampering with his meal. A recovering Tae-young realizes with dread that there was hot sauce in the baby food. Jaein whirls around, shouting at a panicked and sweating Michael. Cornered, Michael confesses to adding the hot sauce, weakly defending it as a prank. He tries to justify his actions for entertainment, but Tae-young furiously declares he's gone too far. Jaein grabs Michael by the collar, furious at the potential harm to the baby, while Seong-guk internally praises his protective charisma. After the chaos, Tae-young kneels down to face Seong-guk, his expression full of concern. He apologizes on Michael's behalf for his childish prank, asking if the baby was frightened. The other members scold Tae-young for speaking to a baby so seriously, but he fiercely defends Seong-guk's intelligence. The baby genius watches the argument unfold, internally assessing the idol's potential with a knowing smirk. With a burst of triumphant laughter, Seong-guk decides he will personally guide these promising entertainers. Time passes, and the scene transitions to a bright, sunny day, signaling a new chapter. Seong-guk and his parents stare in disbelief at the news, shocked by the show's incredible success. His mother confirms the first episode of their reality show achieved an unprecedented 20% viewership rating. The father can't contain his excitement, realizing that a 20% rating is not just amazing, but a massive hit. The mother highlights the scale of their success, noting that even the network's flagship shows average only 15% viewership. Crying with joy, the father relays a call from the director confirming the show is now officially scheduled for regular programming. With a warm smile, the mother congratulates Seong-guk, acknowledging his part in their newfound success. With a smug grin and crossed arms, the baby genius internally takes full credit, seeing this success as an obvious outcome. However, he clenches his tiny fist, internally vowing that this is just the start and he can't be satisfied yet. A vision reveals his ultimate goal, becoming a rich and powerful tycoon, standing triumphantly at the pinnacle of success. He lets out a burst of triumphant laughter, leaving his mother to internally comment on how unusual her son is. The assistant director then nervously approaches the mother, explaining she has something she needs to ask. Her eyes widen in shock as the assistant director reveals that someone from Sinsung Entertainment recently visited her house. Her expression darkens as she explains they came to congratulate her on the show's success, even bringing a fruit basket. The assistant director explains the man from Sinsung Entertainment came to extend an invitation from their CEO, Shin Sung-jung. He formally requested they visit the agency, his professional demeanor masking an undeniable pressure. The mother panics over the sudden invitation, but the assistant director reveals she's already investigated the company. She warns that while Sinsung Entertainment is powerful, it's surrounded by nasty rumors about its business and its CEO. The most troubling rumor she uncovered points to the CEO's potential connections with the criminal underworld. Seong-guk's parents recoil in terror at the mere mention of gangsters. Despite the alarming news, the assistant director thoughtfully weighs their options. Considering the implications of refusing, she decides it's too risky to decline and resolves to accompany the mother to the meeting to ensure her safety. The baby genius listens quietly, the name Shin Sung-jung stirring a faint, unsettling memory. His eyes fly open in shock as he suddenly realizes he might know this powerful and dangerous man from his past life. Seong-guk internally panics, desperately trying to stop his parents from agreeing to the meeting. A memory flashes through his mind of the CEO cornering two women in his office. He recalls the CEO's enforcers looming over them with an intimidating offer. The baby genius remembers that Shin Sung-jung is a dangerous man who doesn't play by the rules. The scene changes to the meeting, where the CEO greets them with a deceptively warm smile. Despite their unease, the mother and assistant director maintain their composure, formally thanking him. When asked the reason for the meeting, the CEO reveals his interest is specifically in Seong-guk. The baby genius is baffled, wondering how this powerful man could possibly know his name. As his mother expresses her surprise, Seong-guk internally scoffs at the CEO's claim of a great offer. Shin Sung-jin then drops the bombshell, revealing he wants to sign Seong-guk to an exclusive contract. The CEO's associate presents a contract, declaring Seong-guk will partner exclusively with Korea's top entertainment agency. He then drops the shocking proposal of a 10-year exclusive contract, leaving the women stunned. To entice them, the CEO casually mentions the A-list celebrities already under his management. He paints a picture of Seong-guk joining the same prestigious agency as these top-tier actors. Claiming the terms are favorable, he hands over the contract, which the assistant director immediately begins to scrutinize. Her expression turns to one of pure horror as she reads the fine print. She reveals the outrageous terms, a 10-year deal with a 70-30 profit split. The CEO confirms with a smirk that the agency will be taking the 70% share, sparking fury in the baby genius. Seong-guk internally seethes, recognizing the offer for what it is, a ruthless slave contract. Mistaking their shock for joy, the CEO laughs, privately relishing the thought of exploiting his new asset. The baby genius glares, internally noting that the greedy CEO hasn't changed one bit from his past life. A memory reveals Shin Sung-jung's deep ties to Seong-guk's father from his previous life, the vice chairman of Samyeon Group. He recalls how his father funneled a fortune in advertising deals to Sinsung Entertainment through an associate. In exchange for the lucrative deals, Shin Sung-jung provided his agency's celebrities for all of Samyeon's corporate events. But Seong-guk remembers the CEO's ultimate fate, imprisonment for blackmail and other serious crimes against his own talent. Back in the present, the CEO praises Seong-guk's unparalleled talent, citing his decade of industry experience. He promises to make the baby a star, all while privately thinking about the fleeting fame of child actors. The CEO's dark intentions are revealed. He plans to exploit Seong-guk and discard him once his usefulness runs out. But before he can celebrate, the assistant director calmly announces their refusal. Much to Seong-guk's delight, the CEO maintains his friendly facade, leaning in to ask for the reason behind their unexpected rejection. The assistant director criticizes the absurd contract terms offered by the CEO. The CEO imagines Seong-guk's rising star power and the potential profits. Back in the meeting room, the CEO and Seong-guk's mother and assistant discuss the contract. The CEO questions their rejection, confident in his assessment of Seong-guk's potential. He explains his reasoning, downplaying the child actor market and its profitability. Seong-guk fumes, realizing the CEO's dismissive attitude towards child actors. The mother scolds the CEO for his insensitive remarks in front of Seong-guk. Seong-guk insults the CEO, comparing him to an unflattering creature. Seong-guk confidently asserts his enduring talent and future success. The mother tries to calm Seong-guk, who is visibly upset by the CEO's words. The CEO scoffs, questioning why the assistant director is meddling in family affairs. The assistant director fires back, declaring herself Seong-guk's official manager. Touched by her loyalty, the mother watches as the assistant director asserts her right to negotiate, citing her advertising expertise. She declares the contract unfair and prepares to leave with the mother. The CEO's friendly facade shatters, his face contorting with fury at their defiance. As his enforcers loom, the defeated CEO warns them they will regret this decision. A heavy, threatening silence fills the room, leaving the two women on edge. The CEO rises, his voice dripping with menace as he threatens their future and the entertainment industry. Seong-guk smirks, recognizing the CEO's true colors and silently accepting the challenge. They leave the building, the assistant director striding ahead with grim determination while the mother clutches Seong-guk. Nervously, the mother watches as the assistant director fumes, utterly disgusted by the CEO's behavior. Seong-guk silently agrees, furious that the man would dare threaten his pregnant mother. Safely outside, the assistant director expresses her concern, but the mother deflects, worried about her friend instead. The mother declares that men like the CEO are common and that they will never sign with such a corrupt agency. As the assistant director suggests they head home, the mother stops her with a serious question. She hesitantly asks if the assistant director would consider becoming Seong-guk's official manager, leaving her stunned. The baby genius, however, thinks this is a brilliant proposal, looking on with hopeful anticipation. He reflects on his past life, remembering the harsh business lesson that finding trustworthy people is nearly impossible. Seong-guk realizes the assistant director possesses both industry knowledge and, crucially, proven integrity. Flustered by the unexpected offer, the assistant director humbly insists she lacks the expertise for such a role. The baby genius reaches out, trying to persuade the flustered assistant director. He enthusiastically points, personally anointing her as his chosen comrade in the battles to come. His mother points out Seong-guk's obvious affection, urging the assistant director to accept the role. She then pleads sincerely, admitting her own ignorance and asking for help in protecting her son's future. Moved by their faith in her, the assistant director smiles, realizing she has just found a new purpose. She officially accepts the position, prompting an overjoyed hug from the mother as they welcome manager Kim to the team. The newly formed trio shares a light-hearted moment, already planning to make a fortune together. Back at Shinseang Entertainment, the furious CEO receives a full report on Seong-guk's new manager, Kim Mi-young. He learns she is also the family's landlord, scoffing at what he considers a pathetic amateur arrangement. With a menacing glare, the CEO vows to teach them a brutal lesson and orders his subordinate to call the reporters. On a film set, a chaotic scene unfolds as one young actor desperately tries to stop his two brothers from fighting. Another child actor explodes with jealousy, furious that all the prop bananas are being given to Seong-guk. Seong-guk defiantly stuffs his face, determined to eat every last bite just to spite his on-screen rival. The film crew and other cast members watch the escalating sibling rivalry with amusement, capturing the raw performance. In a surprisingly fierce move, Seong-guk lands a solid slap across his co-star's face. The older brother actor recoils in horror, pleading for them to stop the intense, unscripted-looking conflict. The scene cuts to a quiet, snowy day, showing the apartment building where the family lives. Back on set, the director enthusiastically yells "cut," completely thrilled with the authentic performance he just captured. After praising the cast for their hard work, the director calls for a lunch break. With Seong-guk and his mother sitting together, an unfamiliar woman calls out to Seong-guk's mother, who turns to greet the visitor with a welcoming smile. The film's director approaches Seong-guk's mother on set, addressing her with a friendly smile. He expresses concern about her waiting on set, but she assures him she finds the process fascinating. Touched by his kindness, she thanks him while placing a protective hand on her pregnant belly. He asks about her due date, and she cheerfully reveals the baby is expected in the winter. The mother then steers the conversation to Michael, Seong-guk's on-screen rival. The director reveals that the audience adores their bickering, comparing them to a classic cartoon duo. He admits, however, that he worries Michael's intense performance might be too much for Seong-guk. She reassures him with a smile, admitting she also finds their rivalry entertaining and trusts his judgment. While his mother looks pleased, Seong-guk watches their exchange from a distance with a thoughtful expression. A glint appears in his eye as he turns away, a new strategy clearly forming in his mind. While his older co-star looks utterly defeated, Michael stretches and casually suggests they all get lunch. The baby genius lies back, stuffed and sleepy, internally complaining that their acting chemistry has faded. With a smug look, he pats his full belly, feeling the drowsy effects of his banana feast. The mood darkens instantly as Michael confronts him, his shadow casting a menacing glow over a startled Seong-guk. his face contorted in a furious grimace. Michael accuses the baby of intentionally hitting him for real. The baby genius bristles with indignation, calling Michael the rude one and scoffing at the absurd accusation. He recalls Michael's immature personality and realizes their bickering is a huge hit with fans, who find their rivalry adorable. Fully embracing his new strategy, Seong-guk points and theatrically threatens to teach his oppa a proper lesson. The older actor is completely flustered by the baby's sudden aggression, muttering about his crazy temper. Seizing the opportunity, Seong-guk firmly pinches his co-star's cheek, signaling that the real performance has just begun. Michael's face contorts in pain as the baby genius gives his cheek a surprisingly strong pinch. The older actor erupts in disbelief, while Seong-guk puts on a convincing display of crocodile tears. Just as Michael complains, manager Kim intervenes with a sharp, commanding tone. Startled by her sudden appearance, Michael turns to face her with a defensive expression. With her arms crossed, the manager coldly questions Michael about his physical contact with Seong-guk. As Michael tries to dismiss the incident, Seong-guk internally cheers for his manager's perfect timing and support. Manager Kim issues a stern warning to keep his hands off her client, leaving him seething with rage. He lashes out, questioning her fierce protectiveness over the baby. She calmly reminds him that his recent commercial deals are a direct result of his on-screen rivalry with Seong-guk. Picking up the baby, she delivers a final, professional command to never lay a hand on a child again, leaving Michael speechless. As manager Kim carries him away, Seong-guk peeks over her shoulder at the fuming Michael. Left alone, Michael trembles with suppressed rage, his humiliation turning into fury. His face twists in a silent scream of frustration, utterly incensed by the turn of events. He internally fumes about his artistic ambitions being derailed, while Seong-guk taunts him from a safe distance. Plagued by his tarnished reputation, Michael desperately schemes for a way to sabotage the entire production. Convinced he doesn't need the show, he reaches for a phone to make a decisive call. An incoming call interrupts his plotting, and he snatches the receiver with irritation. The voice on the other end stops him cold, his anger instantly replaced by stunned disbelief. He learns the call is from the infamous Shinseang Entertainment, a name that immediately changes the atmosphere. The scene shifts to a special production meeting inside the imposing Shinseang Entertainment headquarters. The director gathers the main cast for a crucial meeting at the channel's office. He graciously thanks the lead actor, Tae-young, who humbly accepts the praise as the show's representative. The director then turns his warm attention to Seong-guk, affectionately calling the baby genius a part of their family. Before the meeting officially begins, he pulls out an envelope, announcing a surprise performance bonus. He proudly reveals their viewership has soared past 30%, crediting Seong-guk for their incredible success. As the cast receives their cash, Seong-guk diligently counts his earnings while Michael stares at his own bonus in shock. With the bonuses distributed, the director gets down to business, introducing the meeting's main topic, a Christmas special. He explains the network has requested a 90-minute, family-friendly special to celebrate the upcoming holiday. The director asks if Seong-guk can walk and run, unaware the baby has been training relentlessly for this very moment. A charming idea is proposed to have the whole cast dress in festive costumes. With Seong-guk as the star of the show, the director enthusiastically pitches the idea of the cast having a party and dancing together on screen. Just as he moves to discuss the details, Michael interrupts the meeting with a shout. He rushes in with a panicked expression, declaring that there's a huge problem. Michael urgently announces that a damaging newspaper article has been published about Seong-guk. The headline is a bombshell accusing Seong-guk's parents of greed and exploiting their child. The scandal quickly hits the airwaves, with a popular news program picking up the story. News anchors frame the situation as a shocking controversy involving the beloved child actor and his family. They specifically report on the article's claims of serious trouble between Seong-guk and his parents. While one anchor dismisses the report, the other notes the growing public concern before the TV is abruptly shut off. At home, Seong-guk's father stares grimly at the blank screen as his worried family sits in stunned silence. His mother panics, her face etched with fear over the scandalous news. The father tries to reassure her, dismissing the article as a typical industry attack on a hit show. Manager Kim comforts the distraught mother, confidently declaring the whole story is staged. Suddenly, Seong-guk erupts, furiously denouncing the news report as completely fake. He turns abruptly, his intense outburst catching his mother and manager completely off guard. The baby genius stomps his foot, trying to command the room and get everyone to calm down. His father flinches, startled by the unusually powerful and commanding presence of his infant son. Seong-guk points directly at his father, who could only stare back in stunned silence. Picked up by his father, The baby internally recognizes this media attack as a calculated power struggle. In his mind, Seong-guk resolves to uncover who is behind the attack and beat them at their own game. Seong-guk mentally prods the director, knowing his industry connections are key to solving this crisis. The director, sensing the baby's resolve, confidently agrees that it's time for him to take charge. He announces that he and the network will handle the scandal personally. Much to Seong-guk's satisfaction, he advises the family to stay home and avoid the media, warning that journalists are likely lurking nearby. The director then suggests they take a break from the set, making Seong-guk's mother anxious. Manager Kim steps forward, volunteering to take Seong-guk with her, instantly easing the mother's fears. The father entrusts his son to the manager, who hints at another matter they need to discuss. With a reassuring bow, the director promises to handle everything as quickly as possible. Later that night, the director walks down a deserted alley, the weight of the situation on his shoulders. Suddenly, Michael appears from the shadows, stopping the director in his tracks. Michael asks if the director's meeting with the family is over, but the director remains silent and unimpressed. The director cuts straight to the point, demanding to know what Michael knows about the damaging article. He reveals the article's source was an insider who claimed Seong-guk's parents were meddling. Putting Michael on the spot, the director directly accuses Michael of being the leak, causing the actor to recoil in panic denial. As Michael desperately tries to clear his name, the director observes him with a calculating, skeptical expression. With Michael's denial, the director is left to wonder who else could be behind the sabotage as a new scene begins. The story shifts to a snowy Christmas Eve, where a happy couple enjoys the festive atmosphere on the street. One of the men beams with joy, celebrating the perfect white Christmas with his partner. Nearby, a mysterious figure in a heavy coat and sunglasses pushes a baby stroller through the snow. The couple spots the heavily bundled person, whispering about how suspicious they look in their disguise. A sudden noise from inside the stroller draws the attention of the nearby couple. The disguised figure is Manager Kim, who desperately tries to silence a fussy Seong-guk. She instantly regrets her decision, remembering she promised the director they would stay hidden. A flashback reveals Seong-guk had thrown a tantrum, desperate to escape the stuffy house. Feeling sorry for the frustrated baby, she had caved and agreed to a quick, secret walk. She even justified the outing as a sweet gesture to meet Seong-guk's father after work. Manager Kim reminds the pouting baby that they must remain incognito for their own safety. Internally, the grown man trapped in a baby's body despairs of the indignity of being in a stroller. His face flushes with pure humiliation as he mentally demands to walk on his own defeat. Pushing on, Manager Kim suddenly stops as she overhears passers-by discussing the Just Baby show. Manager Kim freezes as the couple excitedly discusses the show's Christmas special. They fondly recall Tae-young's charming performance as a dashing Santa Claus. The conversation shifts to Seong-guk's appearance as an impossibly cute reindeer. They laugh, remembering his hilariously grumpy expression while dressed as a snowman. The pair can barely contain their excitement, gushing over how adorable the baby actor is. As they lament the show's upcoming finale, Seong-guk silently basks in their praise. Her brief moment of pride shatters when one of them mentions the damaging news article. They rehash the rumors about his parents' greed, and Seong-guk mentally scoffs at their gullibility. The pedestrian light changes, signaling the end of their conversation as they prepare to cross. Manager Kim and Seong-guk are left alone on the sidewalk, the couple's words echoing in the snowy air. Overwhelmed by the public's words, Manager Kim stands frozen while Seong-guk worries about his mother. Suddenly, a pair of familiar sneakers steps into view, catching them both by surprise. Seong-guk's father jogs toward them, delighted to find his son and the manager waiting for him. He beams with affection, touched by their gesture but concerned about them being out in the cold. His cheerful mood evaporates as he sees Manager Kim's face, now streaming with tears of distress. As his father rushes to comfort her, Seong-guk understands the gossip is spreading, and the situation is spiraling out of control. The scene changes to a tense meeting where the father slams the whiteboard, demanding a concrete plan. He fiercely proclaims his duty to protect his family, refusing to stand by any longer. The director apologizes, explaining that even the network's power can't stop the reporters. He reveals the public's obsession with Seong-guk is fueling the rumors, but the father insists they must take action now. The director taps the table, deciding that a direct approach is their only option. He gauges the father's willingness to take a significant risk to clear their family's name. The director's high-stakes plan is revealed, a live press interview to face the public head-on. The father reels from the shocking suggestion. As the scene shifts to the fateful day of December 31st, the story cuts to the Just Baby year-end special, broadcast from the MBC network building. The popular idol group just introduces themselves, with Seong-guk awkwardly included in their group shot. While the idols gush over him, Seong-guk endures their affectionate smothering with pure irritation. The show promotes its upcoming New Year's special, promising more content for its dedicated fans. Elsewhere, a mysterious silver-haired man watches the broadcast intently from a dark room. He sees the parents' live interview begin on screen, preparing to make his own move. Seong-guk's parents brace themselves in front of the press, ready to begin their daunting interview. A crew member enthusiastically validates their choice, framing the press conference as a necessary, high-stakes move. He tries to ease their nerves by promising a controlled environment, but their forced smiles betray their anxiety. As the crew member does a final check, the parents are left to sit and stew in their mounting tension. Overwhelmed by nerves, the mother takes a shaky breath, prompting her husband to call out to her. He suddenly apologizes with a pained expression, leaving his wife utterly confused. He explains his guilt over adding this stress during her pregnancy, his shoulders slumping in despair. His wife counters his guilt with praise for his bravery, her supportive words bringing tears to his eyes. Their tender moment is cut short as the director enters the room, calling for their attention. The director appears, holding Seong-guk in a bare onesie, reuniting the family just before the broadcast begins. The director admits his surprise at the sudden interview, a sentiment shared by a very grumpy Seong-guk. He recalls his initial impression of them as just a pair of timid, everyday parents trying to get by. Now, he smirks, privately acknowledging their bold move and questioning their sudden change in strategy. As his mother takes him into her arms, Seong-guk strokes his chin, deep in thought about the situation. The father lovingly compliments his wife, and the reunited family shares a moment of warmth before the cameras roll. She pulls her son into a tight embrace, cherishing their precious time together. His mother reassures him, promising they will put an end to all the damaging rumors. A tear wells in his eye as the profound realization dawns on him. They're doing all of this for him. Noticing his sudden change, the mother worries, her own anxieties about facing the public surfacing. The director and manager Kim observe from afar, with the director visibly moved by the family's heartfelt connection. Manager Kim blushes, flustered by the director's keen observation of the family's bond. Elsewhere, Tae-young, the leader of Just, cheerfully enters a room looking for the director. His smile vanishes as he sees the reflection of a press mob in his eyes. Questioning the interview setup, he spins around in shock, demanding to know why the parents are facing a live interview. A stressed manager Kim explains their plan for a quiet statement backfired, attracting a media frenzy. The director grimly realizes there must be an information leak as reporters swarm the hallway. The door bursts open, and a frantic Tae-young is immediately mobbed by the press. The staff watches in horror as the reporters recognize the famous idol, escalating the chaos. Tae-young panics, declaring the situation is out of control and overwhelming even for him. The director looks on with grim resignation, admitting it's too late to stop the live broadcast. The parents are immediately swarmed by a relentless mob of reporters, their questions and camera flashes creating a chaotic scene. The father instinctively pulls his overwhelmed wife close, shielding her from the aggressive press. Pushed to his limit, the father roars at the crowd, desperately demanding silence. He pleads with the reporters to stop, revealing his wife is in the final stages of pregnancy. Despite a reporter's cynical retort, the father calmly promises to answer everything if they just speak one at a time. As the cameras record, he begins his official statement to clear his family's name from the malicious rumors. He starts by revealing their past, explaining that both he and his wife grew up together in an orphanage. The father proudly recounts their journey of working tirelessly to build a life they could be proud of. He clarifies that Seong-guk's fame was a happy accident, discovered by a kind neighbor who saw his potential. With conviction, he makes his final point, fiercely denying that they are exploiting their son for financial gain. The father's heartfelt plea is met with the reporter's cynical disbelief. The press hounds him for financial proof, demanding to see their bank statements. Seong-guk seethes with rage, disgusted by the reporter's relentless harassment. He breaks free from his mother's hold, determined to intervene. The tiny baby heroically charges forward, demanding the reporters cease their attack. He fiercely defends his family, telling the press to stop bullying his mom and dad. Watching from his dark room, the silver-haired man fantasizes about silencing the reporters himself. A shaken manager Kim grabs the director, snapping him back to reality. The director springs into action, decisively ordering the live broadcast to be terminated immediately. In the aftermath, Seong-guk anxiously checks on his father, who looks down at him with relief. The father pulls his son into a tight hug, apologizing for his clumsy speech. Seong-guk pats his dad's back reassuringly before turning his attention to his mother. He finds his mother clutching her stomach, her face pale and strained with pain. Both father and son freeze in shock as she announces she's having contractions. The stressful situation has triggered her labor, and an ambulance is immediately dispatched. Inside the ambulance, a paramedic coaches her through her breathing while her family watches anxiously. The father desperately encourages his wife to hold on, his own panic rising as they race to the hospital. She tries to reassure her son, but Seong-guk can see the immense pain she's trying to hide. A wave of panic hits Seong-guk as he realizes he's completely clueless about what to do. He despairs, acknowledging that across 2 lifetimes he has zero experience with childbirth. He desperately racks his brain for a way to help, silently urging his mother to stay strong. The ambulance speeds through the city streets, rushing the family to the nearest hospital. Later, the director and manager Kim are completely overwhelmed, their faces filled with pure emotion. The reason for their reaction is revealed. Seong-guk is tenderly holding his newborn baby brother, Minguk. In the hospital room, the whole group gathers around, their hearts melting at the sight of the 2 brothers. The director commends the mother for her incredible strength and resilience through the difficult delivery. He then gently asks the new mother, now resting in bed, how she's recovering. She beams, gratefully telling everyone she's doing just fine thanks to their support. The director admits that while he thought Seong-guk was the cutest baby, Minguk is serious competition. He can't help but gently poke the newborn's irresistibly chubby cheeks. Seong-guk fiercely slaps the director's hand away, forbidding him from touching the newborn. Holding Minguk protectively, he scolds the director for his careless attempt to touch a fragile baby. With a stern glare, he commands the director to go wash his hands, surprising everyone with his big brother instincts. While the director is touched by the display, Seong-guk is actually reflecting on his past experiences with siblings. He recalls his siblings from a past life, remembering them as nothing but troublesome brats. With a determined grin, he vows to raise his new little brother properly, promising to be the best big brother ever. The father asks the director if he can take a few photos of the 2 brothers together. Manager Kim explains that the public is now on their side, with viewers flooding comment sections with support after the disastrous interview. The director enthusiastically agrees to the photo shoot, eager to capture the heartwarming scene for the fans. Manager Kim then turns serious, asking the director for details about what happened after they rushed to the hospital. The director thoughtfully explains that he's taken care of almost everything behind the scenes. He slams a pager on the table, revealing they've caught the person responsible for the leaks. In a flashback, the director confronts a staff member named Michael, who is stunned to see his own pager presented as evidence. The director lists the suspicious leaks, noting how private information from the set kept reaching the press. He points out that even confidential interviews were being exposed, causing Michael to sweat under the pressure. After Michael tries to deny it, the director reveals he had Lucas tail him due to his suspicious disappearances. Lucas smirks from the background, confirming he was the one who successfully tracked the mole. With a sharp gaze, the director declares that their investigation uncovered a crucial piece of information. He directly confronts Michael about his secret connection to the CEO of a rival entertainment company. Michael freezes in pure terror, realizing he's been completely exposed. The director explains that Seong-guk's manager had long suspected the CEO of Sinsong Entertainment. He lays out the evidence, revealing every slanderous journalist had ties to the rival company. The final proof was the pager's voicemail, which traced directly back to Sinsong Entertainment. The director expresses his disgust that Michael would help a thug-like figure harm Seong-guk's family. He furiously demands to know Michael's reasoning, leaving them all trembling in terror. Back in the present, the director vows that both Michael and CEO Shin Sung-jung will face the consequences. Headlines explode across the news, outing Sinsong Entertainment as the mastermind behind the smear campaign. The scene shifts to CEO Shin Sung-jung being escorted by police through a chaotic media frenzy. Reporters bombard him with questions about the slanderous articles and threats against his own talent. The disgraced CEO pulls back his hood, furiously denying all the allegations. The father reels in shock, learning that both the rival CEO and their own staff member, Michael, were involved. The director sighs, admitting he doesn't know Michael's motive, but promises another staff member will bring the traitor to apologize. As a gesture of apology, he announces that both he and the broadcasting station will cover all the hospital expenses. The director seethes with rage over Michael's betrayal, but the father calmly tells him it's all right. He smiles, grateful for the private room that allows his family to stay together while his wife recovers. The father adds that all they really wanted was for the malicious rumors to disappear. Much to the director's relief, the director reassures him that the public is now firmly on their side. Moved by the father's emotional interview, he then promises with a fiery glint in his eye that his team will handle the remaining fallout with extreme prejudice. An image flashes of a disgraced journalist facing a lawsuit. a clear warning to anyone who slandered the family. Considering everything, the director announces a 2-month break from filming so the family can rest and recover. Manager Kim worries that a 2-month break might be excessive for the show's momentum. The director waves off his concern, insisting the family's well-being comes first and that they have plenty of footage. 2 months later, the family is thriving, with the parents admiring Seong-guk's doting care for his little brother. The show signs off with a promise to return in the spring, leaving fans in anticipation. Time passes as winter gives way to a bright, blossoming spring. With cherry blossoms painting the city, people remark on how quickly the seasons have changed. Inside a home, ATV broadcast hints at exciting news to accompany the beautiful weather. The big announcement drops: the nation's beloved baby, Seong-guk, is officially making his comeback. A man clutches his chest in shock as his wife confirms that the show is indeed returning. The couple, revealed to be devoted fans, share a knowing smirk, eagerly awaiting the show's premiere.